The world watched as Rodrigo Duterte, the former firebrand president of the Philippines, was arrested. His arrest sent shockwaves across the globe. Duterte, known for his tough-talking style and controversial policies, now faced a different kind of battleground, the International Criminal Court. On March 14, 2025, he appeared before the ICC at The Hague via video link. The charges against him were grave crimes against humanity. These charges stemmed from his notorious war on drugs campaign, a period marked by widespread violence and extrajudicial killings. Duterte's arrest marked a pivotal moment in international justice. It served as a stark reminder that even heads of state are not above the law. The ICC's pursuit of justice transcended national borders, sending a clear message that crimes against humanity will not be tolerated, regardless of the perpetrator's status. The arrest followed years of investigation by the ICC. The court had gathered evidence of the atrocities committed under Duterte's rule. The evidence painted a grim picture of systematic human rights abuses. The victims, mostly from impoverished communities, were denied due process and basic human rights. This high-profile case put a spotlight on the Philippines. The world watched as the country grappled with the legacy of Duterte's brutal policies. The case also highlighted the importance of international institutions like the ICC in holding perpetrators of mass atrocities accountable. The ICC indictment detailed a horrific campaign of violence and murder. At the heart of the charges against Duterte was his war on drugs. Launched in 2016, the campaign was supposed to eradicate illegal drug use in the Philippines. However, it quickly descended into a bloodbath. Thousands of Filipinos, many suspected of petty drug offenses, were killed in extrajudicial killings. The ICC investigation revealed a pattern of state-sanctioned violence. Police officers, often acting on Duterte's orders, conducted raids in impoverished neighborhoods. These raids often resulted in the deaths of suspects with little to no accountability. The victims were often denied due process. Their families were left with little recourse for justice. The charges against Duterte included murder, torture, and enforced disappearances. The ICC argued that these acts constituted crimes against humanity. They alleged that Duterte had implemented a systematic and widespread attack against the civilian population. The prosecution presented a compelling case backed by eyewitness accounts, forensic evidence, and internal government documents. The evidence painted a chilling picture of a regime that operated with impunity. Duterte, throughout his presidency, had openly encouraged the killings. He had promised immunity to law enforcement officers who carried out his orders. The ICC argued that this created a climate of fear and impunity. This climate allowed the killings to continue unabated. The courtroom was tense as Duterte's legal team mounted their defense. His lawyers argued that the ICC lacked jurisdiction over the case. They claimed that the Philippines, having withdrawn from the Rome Statute in 2019, was no longer under the court's purview. They also argued that Duterte still enjoyed immunity from prosecution as a former head of state. Duterte's defense team employed a strategy of defiance and denial. They dismissed the ICC's charges as politically motivated. They accused the court of being a tool of Western imperialism. They insisted that Duterte's war on drugs was a necessary measure to combat the drug menace in the Philippines. The prosecution countered by arguing that the ICC had jurisdiction over crimes committed while the Philippines was still a member of the Rome Statute. They emphasized that immunity from prosecution did not extend to crimes against humanity. They presented evidence that Duterte's withdrawal from the ICC was an attempt to evade accountability. The judges listened intently as both sides presented their arguments. The courtroom was packed with journalists, diplomats, and human rights observers. The world watched as the drama unfolded, a testament to the significance of the case. The ICC proceedings were closely followed by the families of the victims. For years they had been demanding justice for their loved ones. They had faced intimidation, threats, and a culture of silence. The ICC trial offered them a glimmer of hope. It represented a chance for their voices to be heard on an international stage. Human rights groups hailed the arrest of Duterte as a victory for international justice. They saw it as a powerful message to dictators and authoritarian regimes around the world. The case highlighted the growing global consensus against impunity for crimes against humanity. The road to justice, however, is long and arduous. The ICC's decision to proceed with the case was just the beginning. The prosecution still had to prove its case beyond a reasonable doubt. The defense was expected to use all legal means at its disposal to delay and obstruct the proceedings. Despite the challenges, the victims and their families remained resolute in their pursuit of justice. They vowed to continue their fight for accountability, no matter how long it took. The ICC case, regardless of its outcome, had already sent a powerful message. The world was watching, and crimes against humanity would not go unpunished. Don't forget to subscribe and like for more updates from the Trend Loop.